Finally, Social Security gets a little bit of good news. Breaking news coming out today. Take a look at the headlines coming out. Projected Social Security raise gets a tiny bump up after today's CPI data, as they're saying those raises, those increases for the cost of living adjustment or the COLA for Social Security recipients, it's looking like it's going to be a little bit higher than they had originally projected. So if you're somebody that collects retirement, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, any of these fixed income benefits from the Social Security Administration, you're going to want to watch this video all the way through, and also stick around to the end, because if you missed the latest, there's also some updates on some cities where you might want to be careful and lock your doors. Stick around to the end. I'm going to give you some updates on that as well. But take a look at this. The latest on Social Security. COLA 2024 estimates rose in an unexpected twist. Here's why. And as I mentioned, it's because we saw that inflation has actually gone up, but just by a little bit. It's actually down year over year. Inflation eased to 3% in June, slowest pace in more than 2 years. But people are wondering now, are the Federal Reserve, are they going to continue to increase interest rates? What's going to be happening with the future of our economy? Well, consumer price growth falls for the 12th consecutive month to 3%, but economists are still debating how long high prices will linger and what is causing them to be so stubborn. And also, we heard from White House Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who said it's still too early to rule out the risk of a U.S. recession, as people are wondering what is going to be happening with inflation and interest rates. And now, though, the good news is Social Security, we're hearing they're going to be getting a little bit of an increase, but we're still not exactly sure what's on the horizon for our economy. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest, as we're hearing there could be a little bit of a raise, a little bit of good news for those on Social Security. And again, stick around to the end for the update as where you need to lock your doors, because there's some laws that are changing in the United States. But let's go ahead and dive right in. Before we do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, take a quick second, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. And if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I'm always happy to report on good news for Social Security, stimulus, Congress, our economy, anything that's going on that will impact you or your family. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into these articles and get you caught up on the latest. All right, so as always, link in the description below to this article. As you know, I cite the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see it's the latest, and this all just came out today. Now, this article says Social Security recipients finally have something to cheer about. The forecast for next year's Social Security increase edged up on Wednesday today, even after the government said inflation had cooled further in June. Annual inflation in June eased to 3%, down from 4% in May, and off of a 40-year high of 9.1% in June of 2022. It was also the smallest increase since March of 2021, due mostly to the 16.7% decline in energy prices. Food rose 5.7%, but was down from May's 6.7% annual increase. Shelter, which includes rents, jumped 7.8% over the last 12 months, but it was still lower than May's 8% gains. Lower inflation is generally welcome because people are regaining their purchasing power, but Social Security recipients, used to seeing their potential cost of living adjustment decline with slower inflation, got an unusual extra surprise. COLA is estimated at 3% next year, according to the forecast from the Senior Citizens League, a nonprofit seniors group. That's much less than the 4-decade high of 8.7% COLA increase that we saw in 2023, but above last month's estimate of 2.7%, which it increased for 2024. Now, the average trailing 12-month inflation rate that the league uses to project inflation in coming months rose slightly, affecting our COLA estimate rising from 2.7% last month to 3% based on the June data, said Mary Johnson, the Social Security and Medicare policy analyst at the Senior Citizens League. The average monthly check for Social Security beneficiaries was $1,701.62 in May, according to the Social Security Administration. A 3% COLA increase means that the extra benefit would be $51 per month. Now, cautious optimism. Ebbing inflation coupled with the higher COLA is music to the Social Security recipients' ears, but Johnson warned that this could all change again. There are still 3 months of data before the COLA is announced in October, and this entire estimate could change. COLA is determined using the average inflation of July, August, and September, and then comparing it to the year-ago figure. The percentage difference between the two is the amount of the COLA. Additionally, Social Security recipients won't learn the bottom line until Medicare Part B premiums are announced, and Part B premiums are automatically deducted from most beneficiaries, Social Security benefits. In many years, the Part B premium increase can take most or even all of the COLA, leaving little else to cover other rising prices. In March, Medicare trustees forecasted monthly Part B premiums would increase by $174.80 in 2024 from $164.90 this year. But that's an estimate, and it doesn't include any significant new costs that come up after the estimate is released, Johnson said. One of the most significant new costs could be Medicare's coverage for the new Alzheimer's drug, lecanemab, known by the brand name Leqvio, which is expected to cost $26,000 per year without insurance. And seniors are still reeling from the 2021-2022 inflation that we experienced. Annual COLAs are meant to ensure that Social Security beneficiaries' purchasing power isn't eroded by inflation, which is exactly what we saw last year. It did not meet expectations. Every single month it fell short. However, COLA hasn't kept pace, literally what I just said, and seniors were the only group that saw its share of poverty increase between 2020 and 2021, the Census Bureau said. Even though inflation this year has been running below the 8.7% beneficiaries received, they haven't been able to recoup the losses that they incurred back in 2021 and 2022, when inflation reached a 40-year high, Johnson said. Inflation was so severe in 2021 and 2022 that the average Social Security benefit fell behind by $1,054, leaving 53% of retirees doubting that they would recover because household costs rose more than the dollar amount of their COLAs. Falling behind due to inflation has ignited the unretirement movement. Wow. Let me know. Have you experienced that? Have you had to go back to work out of retirement because cost of living adjustments have not kept up? According to the survey by the Paycheck, 55% of retirees who went back to work said they did so because they needed more money, and 1 in 6 considered returning to work. Now, the Social Security Administration bases its COLA each year on the average annual increases of the Consumer Price Index, or the CPI data, which was just released today. That is why this is so important. For urban wage earners and clerical workers, also known as the CPIW, and the CPIW largely reflects the broad CPI that the Labor Department releases each month, but differs slightly. Last month, while annual CPI rose 3%, the CPIW increased 2.3%. Now, the Senior Citizens League uses the most recent inflation data to keep a running projection of what COLA might be next year. Now, how many Americans is this going to impact? Well, about 70 million Americans receive benefits from the programs administered by the Social Security Administration. So 70 million people are depending on these benefits, with retired workers and their dependents accounting for 76.9% of the benefits paid out in 2022. Nearly 9 out of 10 people aged 65 and older receive Social Security benefits as of December 31st. Among them, 12% were men, 15% were women that relied on Social Security for more than 90% of their income. So when are we going to be knowing exactly what the COLA will be for 2024? Well, the next COLA will be announced in October and be effective starting January of 2024. So a little bit of good news if you collect Social Security, that they're saying the increase might be a little bit higher than they had originally projected, but we will see how that changes over the next couple months. I will keep you up to date on it every step of the way, and I'll let you know what's going to be happening with interest rates, inflation, and the state of our economy. As we just heard Janet Yellen say, a recession is still not off the table, and we're going to be seeing what happens with our economy. Now, in addition to that, we're going to be seeing what happens with our nation and crime and safety, because I let you know that in some cities they're saying lock your doors because it has now been approved in some areas, zero bail. Now, to get more information on that and to check to see where it's going on, be sure to check out this video right here as I covered the latest. And like I said, I'll keep you up to date on stimulus, Social Security, Congress, our economy, anything that's going to be impacting you and your family. I'll keep you up to date. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.